Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be discussing how you can get easy wins in the brand new Fortnite Season X. Although Season X probably didn't change Fortnite as much as some people were hoping for, especially when it comes to changes on the map, the game is without a doubt insanely different now than it was at the end of Season 9. So the goal of this video is going to be to break down the most important things that have changed, and also how you can best adapt to or take advantage of those changes to get as many wins as possible. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing we have to talk about when it comes to Fortnite Season X is probably the most controversial addition to the game in a while. Unless you've pretty much been totally off any kind of social media for the past day or so, I'm obviously referring to the new Brute vehicle, which players so far are more commonly referring to as the mech or simply the robot. Now, even if you've already seen the Brute in action or maybe even used it once or twice yourself, you may not know everything about it since it has a bunch of totally different features and abilities, so let's just quickly talk about those. So the Brute vehicle can be operated by either one or two players. If you have two players operating it, one player will be the driver while the other player is the gunner who fires the Brute's weapons. And if you only have one player operating it, you need to be constantly switching between driver and gunner. As a driver, you have a few different options and abilities. You can move normally, you can do a dash, you can super jump, and you can stomp, which deals damage to enemies and also gives you the amount of materials for any structure you destroy. And as the gunner, you have a few different options as well. With RT/R2, you can shoot a shotgun which has 10 shots per clip, does 50 body damage per shot, and also has a 1.5 headshot multiplier. With LT/L2 on the other hand, you can shoot a missile launcher that can fire up to 10 missiles at once, depending on how long you actually hold down the trigger for. And your final option is something called Overshield, which takes 200 of your materials and then creates a personal shield for you that lasts a total of 5 seconds. The Brute has 1,000 total health, and in a regular game, 2 to 3 of them will spawn on the entire map, and you'll see all of them marked on the map pretty much immediately after the battle bus takes off. So I think that a lot of people are seeing this new vehicle and basically thinking that Fortnite is totally ruined because it's obviously an insanely dominant force. It's a vehicle that has 10 times the health of a regular player, that also features some insane movement abilities, and the option to use 2 different weapons at the same time. Because of those combination of things, you obviously should never ever get into any kind of close range 1v1 engagement with a player using a Brute if you want to have any chance of actually winning the game. And if you ever get a chance to use the Brute, definitely do it because it'll give you a pretty major advantage. However, it does also have some legitimate weaknesses that make it not just an automatic win for you. The most important one is that the hitbox of the vehicle is absolutely huge. This isn't like a regular player where you're going to need some luck with your bloom to hit shots. If you put and keep your crosshair anywhere near the middle of the vehicle, you're going to hit every single bullet. And if you have multiple players shooting at it from multiple angles, it's actually going to get shredded pretty quickly. 1,000 health may seem like an absolute ton, but at the end of the day, even with damage drop-off, you can deal that entire amount with something like 35 shots of a Scar. And sure, the Brute definitely does have some nice movement abilities, but the movement also feels really clunky while using those abilities. And you gotta keep in mind that if you're playing something like solos, the player operating the Brute is gonna be totally on his own, so he can't move and shoot at the same time. So you basically want to apply medium to long range pressure with your AR when he's in movement mode, and then when you force him to switch to shooting mode, you want to build and use head glitches slash angles while unloading tons of shots. The next thing I want to talk about in this video are the weapons slash items that were vaulted at the beginning of Season X, and also the impact they have on the game as a whole. So let's start with the first section of vaults, which include the Flint-Knock pistol, shadow bombs, the semi-auto sniper, the tactical assault rifle, the mounted turret, and finally the airstrike. There are a few somewhat controversial vaults in here, mainly the Flint-Knock pistol, shadow bombs, and maybe the TAC AR, but I don't think any of those are too game-changing, especially in regular public matches. And then, I think practically everybody is really happy about the vaulting of the semi-auto sniper, mounted turret, and airstrike item. None of them were overpowered by any means, but they were mainly just annoying and useless, and the game will be much better off without them as a whole. But those aren't all the vaulted weapons slash items from the beginning of Season X. The Baller, Quad Crasher, and Glider Redeploy were also vaulted, and I intentionally saved those 3 items for the end because I think they're the most impactful vaults when it comes to winning games and changing how Fortnite is played. And although it wasn't mentioned in the patch notes because it's not technically an item, we also saw the removal of the vast majority of slipstreams and all of the sky bases from Season 9 as well. Due to those 5 different mobility items being vaulted slash removed from the game, we're at a point right now in Fortnite where the amount of mobility is at the lowest point it's been at in a very long time. I believe that as of right now, the only 2 forms of mobility left in the entire game are drift boards and launch pads. This actually has a ton of different impacts when it comes to winning games, but let me just highlight the 2 or 3 most important ones. First off, smart map movement and rotation is at an all-time high in terms of importance. Although I was definitely a fan of all the different types of mobility in Season 9, I'll be the first person to admit that for a lot of players, and myself included, it acted as basically a get-out-of-jail-free card. You can't put yourself in a bad position surrounded by enemies and just glider redeploy or hop in the slipstream and fly away across the entire map anymore. You also can't rotate super late, leaving you in a fast-moving storm, and then just place a ramp down and quad crasher across the entire map, or use a baller to do something similar. You really need to focus more than ever before on having a plan when it comes to rotating, or looting, or just navigating the map in general. And if you do get lucky enough to come across 1 or even multiple launch pads, I really think it's a good idea to save them for when you're really gonna need them most. The other major impact of mobility being at an all-time low is that we'll also see a significant decline in fights being third-party. It's a fairly simple concept. If you hear a fight going on in the distance, and you have glider redeploy, or a baller, or a quad crasher, you'll be able to get to that fight really quickly, and third-party it almost instantly. However, if your only option is to walk to that fight, odds are it'll probably be over before you even get there. So obviously, you still want to be worried about and concerned in general about your fight getting third-partied and trying to finish it quickly. But odds are, on average, you'll have more time to finish fights, so you can play them a little bit slower and more methodical now. In terms of important map / point of interest changes in Season X, as I mentioned earlier, there really aren't all that many. The 2 most popular ones were Dusty Divot being replaced by the old Dusty Depot, and Factories, which is a fan favorite location positioned between Dusty, Salty, and Mega Mall, is back as well. I don't think any of these changes are going to absolutely transform the player distribution across the map, but it is 2 extra new / interesting points of interest towards the middle of the map. And due to the fact that the outskirts of the map remained pretty much totally unchanged, you gotta think that the middle of the map is gonna be very populated at the very beginning of games, but that really isn't anything new. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Let me know if you've gotten a win so far in Fortnite Season X, and if so, how many wins. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.